You see, now, this is not a new narrative by Mahathir. This video, he's saying that, he's blaming the Chinese and Indians who refuse to assimilate into the Malay culture. They refuse to be a Malay. He suddenly creates a new precondition for the non-Malays, Indians and Chinese namely, to be able to call this country their own, Malaysia, for them to belong to this country, they must become Malay. They cannot become Indians and Chinese anymore. They must embrace the culture, live as a Malay, speak the language, means abandon their culture, abandon their language, abandon their ways, abandon their similarity or affinity to India or China. This is a Mahathir's precondition for them to become Malaysia. So now, he's 98 years old. After I see him commenting on Israel and Palestine, and I saw his speech, I saw that this guy is sane and lucid. And I agree in all the things he said. He can be spot on and so logical, you can't even refute what he says. But now, split second, he can now turn and talk about the Indians and Chinese, and therefore, this is Tanah Melayu. We cannot allow it to be called something else because the non-Malays refuses to assimilate. Now, others are arguing and say, look, there was never an agreement for there to be assimilation. There's not a requirement, and integration was all that is. So now anybody can pull the history from their behind and start with their own narrative. But let's look at the history. And to me, whenever people argue about this or that, I always like to go back to the Constitution. What does the Constitution say? As far as the Constitution is concerned, the explicit provisions of the Constitution states that all the other races have a right to their own languages, for their own agama, and whatever their culture is. So therefore, that was what was agreed by our forefathers, Tunku Abdul Rahman, Tun Tan Cheng Lock, and Tun Sambatan. And when whatever they discussed, went to British, the British appointed Lord Reed, and Lord Reed, understanding the spirit of what's agreed by the three forefathers, founding fathers, that was how the Malaysian Constitution was drawn up. So now this Mahathir, he wants to be the fourth founding father, and he wants to start insisting. Now, at the end of the day, the Constitution already make a mention about Bumi Putra and non-Bumi Putra. Okay, it is clear that it's mentioned that the special position of the Malays, and it also makes references to the legitimate rights of the non-Malays. It is there. So therefore, from there dah ada segregation dah. There's two categorization dah. Malay and the non-Malay. And there's already different standards accorded by the Constitution. And whatever the government punya policies enacted is purportedly to give effect to that lah. So which is what whatever the benefits, the economic benefits, the certain entitlements to the Malays and not to the others, which is of course today becomes the matter of contention between the races. There are those who are championing racial equality, but I've always maintained that would not be in the spirit of the Constitution. But to what extent is that inequality, and to what extent does that inequality forsake meritocracy? This is the matter of discussion, and I think a government should manage that properly, because at the end of the day, we cannot forsake meritocracy if we want to move forward. We don't have to force equality of race for that to happen. Tak payah. It's okay for there to be two standards. Tapi whatever it is, a government with courage and wisdom should be able to define, to the Malays, what are their inherent rights at birth that they will get, what they are not entitled to automatically, what they have to strive for, what they have to compete. The Malays got to be clear on that, on what they will get. Okay, so the non-Malays also must be told, okay, certain things are for the Malays, not for you, and certain things are for you, and at the end of the day, the welfare of all must be taken care of, notwithstanding race, creed, or religion. And when it comes to opportunities and investing in students, in employees, we should recognize gems in all races, not just Malays lah. Malays bukan semua gems pun. Non-Malays pun banyak yang talented, yang pandai. But janganlah inequality is such that we forgo the gems and other nations, neighboring nations macam Singapore poach. Itu rugi lah, and secondly, that is grossly unfair. So the inequality ni, you take it too far, it can be very dehumanizing to the non-Malays. Kecil hati lah non-Malays, faham tak? At the end of the day, they don't have any other country. India is not their country, China is not their country, tapi itu heritage dia. That's their culture, that's their language. So why do you want them to forsake that language? I like kalau negara kita berbilang-bilang bangsa, macam-macam bahasa, macam-macam culture. That is what make the country rich lah. You nak semua jadi Melayu untuk apa? Gila ke apa? If Allah wanted everybody to be Melayu, He makes everybody Melayu lah. Ini you nak exceed Allah, and you want everybody to become Melayu. I don't want the Indians to become Melayu. I don't want the Chinese to become Melayu. I want China to be China. I want India to be China. I want India to be India. So China, India. So I ada kawan semua. I ada kawan China, ada kawan India, I ada in-laws China, India. I ada semua. So to me, why can't they be proud of their race? Why can't they be proud of their heritage and culture? How does that make them less Malaysian? They are nilai-nilai Malaysia. So therefore, what is Malaysia? Malaysia is the combination of all the cultures and the religions and the bahasa. That is what Malaysia is. Why are you redefining Malaysia? Jadi you jangan blame kata orang nak tukar antara Melayu something else. We are Malaysia. You are the one trying to change Malaysia to Tanah Melayu for whatever your sick reason may be. That is what is nauseating and merepek. Faham tak? Sejak bila the non-Malays, we all agree, Malays and non-Malays agree that untuk merdeka, in order for them to be a citizen, they must be assimilated and become Melayu. Sejak bila? When did they agree? They don't want it. And I as a Malay, I also don't want them to be. They don't have to be. But we should integrate. We should live harmoniously. We should recognize what each other's rights are in the Constitution. We should not abuse that. And we should, take care of ourselves and live together as a formidable nation and progress together. Bukan diporak-perandakan oleh orang yang bernama Mahathir. Faham tak? So, jadi bodoh sangat. Bila you kata assimilate, you kata orang assimilate, dia jadi Melayu apa semua tu. So what, does that mean they become Bumiputera? Put the cards on the table. What are you saying now? Are you saying that kalau the Chinese and the Malays, they also become Melayu, they also become Bumiputera? Betul ke? Because if you put that on the table, I can tell you many Indians and many Chinese, not all, will be more than happy. Okay lah, aku jadi Melayu. Tukar nama Melayu, I tak cakap bahasa aku dah. I live, I makan macam Melayu, I hidup macam Melayu, give me Bumiputera status. That's it. So, is that what you're offering? Is that what's on the table? So, sekarang ni, Constitution kita buat, segregation. Melayu ada hak-hak macam ni, non-Melayu tak ada hak sini. Jadi, kalau semua jadi Melayu, dia apa jadi? So, again, you are tripping over your own feet. You don't even know what you want to suggest. You just want to create a mountain out of a molehill. Molehill pun tak ada. Just nak cari pasal, nak berkelahi dengan Anwar. Earlier you dah kata apa dah? You mengguna DAP untuk jatuhkan BN. Lah ni you guna PAS untuk menjatuhkan Anwar. So therefore you pakai orang. And then you justify. You kata DAP pakai I. Let me tell you what's the difference between DAP and you. DAP, yes, perlu you untuk jatuhkan Najib to save the country from kleptocrat. You also had the same narrative. You want to use DAP to jatuhkan Najib, to bring down the kleptocrat. Then after that, you became government. DAP was happy to report to you, and you became government. You were happy being the PM, and you agreed 2 to 3 years you nak hand over to Anwar, and they were happy with the coalition. Nobody planned or intended to betray anyone. Tapi you, dengan bersatu, awal-awal you hated DAP, but you use them for a purpose, and sampai time your plan from day one is to betray and stab them right after you win the war. This is what you wanted to do. DAP never had the intention to do that. They never did that. In fact, when you resign, dia dengan Anwar semua go and beg you to stay on. Tapi you tak nak. They should have seen through what you were. I also did not see through. I thought you were innocent. Syed Saddiq so was trying to defend you. But now we see what a fox you've been. You are the sly fox that, brought down the government dulu, because you saw no use for DAP anymore. So sekarang ni, bila you dah humiliated, lost in Langkawi, hilang deposit, Melayu pun reject you. Now to regain you punya ni, you create this narrative about, Melayu and non-Malays refusal to not assimilate. You nak keluar cerita vernacular schools. Daripada dulu ada. UPM 22 tahun, lepas tu tambah lagi 22 bulan, almost 24 years. You said nothing and did nothing about vernacular schools. Okay? In fact, at one time, Mazli jadi, masa second time jadi PM pun. Mazli was Menteri Pelajaran. You nak take over, you tak buat apa pun pasal vernacular schools. Because that was not your narrative then. This narrative conveniently you baru adopt because you nak guna untuk jatuhkan kerajaan ni. Pasal you takut, and we all know what you takut about. We know apa you takut, and you nak advance the narrative. And too bad lah, sekarang ni ramai Malaysian, and especially ramai Melayu, call you out for what you are. You are a bloody liar, you are bloody deceiver, you are bloody manipulator, conniving. This is what you are. And sekarang ni you nak cerita tu seolah-olah semua orang bodoh. They refuse to assimilate. Sejak bila? Since childhood, I never knew that I was never told that the non-Malay is supposed to assimilate to become a Malay. Tak pernah. So Lani, you nak create a new one, you want to be the fourth founding father. Sorry lah. You are the fourth, but you are probably the Lucifer that is trying to undo what our three founding fathers have built. So therefore, Mahathir, you best shut up before rakyat doa that you are not around anymore. That's not going to be good. You punya whatever you did for the country, to help the country, to build the country, nobody talks about that anymore dah. Orang cakap about only the harm that you caused the country. I feel so sad for you. Do you really want to expire this way? Cukup lah, bertaubat lah, muhasabah lah diri, and try to be rahmatan lil alamin, not a cause for chaos in the country and instability. Assalamualaikum.
If you want to see more content like this, make sure to like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell notification so you don't miss any new videos.